Good morning. Today I'm going to tell you how to use the 100 shortcuts in Excel according to this website. These 100 shortcuts are really useful and life-saving when you're rushing a report on Excel, and much better than using the mouse. Okay, now come back to it. Okay, this first one I call Control and open a new workbook. Of course, you can use the mouse, the file, new, open, but it's much easier to use Control and to create a new one. And the next one, I'll open the saved workbook, Control O. Of course, they use Control O, then you can access of all those books that you have saved before, and much better than using File to open. This is also my favorite, Control S, because I set auto save off. So very frequently, whenever I make any kind of change, I would always Control S in order to save it. I don't depend on autosave, but I will save manually for after a few seconds, if not, or minutes, that I will use Control S to save the latest version of my work. Control A to select all. It's been select all in that. Control A, they will select all content in the workbook. Control B, of course, simple. Just turn it off. Bold and not bold. And the next one, I copy the cell. Control C, and it goes somewhere, and Control C, and it goes somewhere, and then Control V to get the content pasted from the copy here. Control D to fill select cell content to cell right above. It's always useful. Suppose that I have, suppose Peter, Lee, and the same guy I also called Peter. That would Control D. I would immediately got Peter. Then I won't need to type it again. Okay. Control F to search for anything in the workbook. It's also used very frequently. Suppose that I have certain words. I search for the word workbook. Control F, I type workbook. Then we show all the instances that contain the word workbook. Of course, there's certain option for searching, but for the time being, forget it. And Control F, so done that before. And Control G is also very useful. Suppose I want to go back to the beginning of the worksheet. I just type in Control G, and I type A1, then it go to A1. Okay. Control H is select something. For example, I want to change work. Control G, I want to change workbook to workbook A. Define it to, if I want to replace, I would become workbook A. I can replace all, but I was better to do manually one by one. Okay. The next one, Control R, to fill select the cell content of that. The same thing that we call Peter, and I want to type Peter again. Rather than that, I would have to fill in that Control R. Okay. That'll get Peter right away. Now, underline to highlight a cell. Control U, we do very frequent. When I have a name, normally we say, oh, your name, and the name is Clement. I want to underline that. I would just say Control U, then underline the name. Control V to paste anything that was copied, and I've done that before, which then Control C to highlight, to copy the cells, and then use Ctrl V to paste them. Ctrl W to close the current workbook. If you Ctrl W, then close it, you to save, and now save as a cancel. That's much easier than go to File and Close. And do anything. Oh. Just now I press Ctrl N, and so let's open a new workbook. Ctrl Z is very useful. Very, very useful, because we do something wrong, type something and mess up everything. Then you can Ctrl Z to bring it back. Ctrl 1. Suppose the cell I want to format it, then you can use Ctrl 1, and a lot of options for it. You can set it to general, to number, and so on. For example, here I would say $100. Then I would Ctrl 1, and I just go to currency, and immediately we get the correct format for that. Ctrl 5 to strike it. Suppose that I had something wrong, but I didn't want to erase it. I just showed it to something that has been replaced or become obsolete. Call Ctrl 5, and I get a strike through. The next one, Ctrl A to show the outline symbols. For example, here, I found this one a very important message that I would want to. Oh, sorry. Now that it's just something different, but I will forget about it because it doesn't work in my computer. Ctrl 9 to hide a row. That's very useful. Very, very useful. Oh, that is the wrong key. Because I've used auto hotkey to map some of the keys, and so sometimes I'm still new to the auto hotkey, and so I sometimes mess something up. Let's come back to the original Excel shortcut. It's much more important now for the time being. A hide a row. Suppose that I have something, for example, no, for example, I don't want to show this row at the moment. I Ctrl 9, then it's high. They're hidden. Okay. To hide a column, for example, I don't want to show the column right at the moment, and I can Ctrl 0, and the whole column disappears. It's very good for writing some hints sometimes. Okay, so that's important. That's very, very important to say. You want to enter the time. You don't want to look at the clock and type in because it's very inefficient. One way to Control colon, then we get a time immediately. And that is, the next one is very important. The Control, get rid of this first. Control the date. Very often in your Excel form, you have to enter the date. You don't want to look at the calendar and type in. It's very inefficient. Of course, you can type in the formula called today, but it's not good. Why? Because this variable, if you put a date here, now April 5th. If you open the worksheet again tomorrow, it become April 6th. That's not correct, okay? So it better not use formula here, but rather Control semicolon, and we'll get actual value here. Control semicolon. It's very important to enter current date. It's very, very fast and efficient and forever correct, unless the clock in your computer is not right. Otherwise, it's very efficient and correct. Okay, the change of view. This one doesn't work in my computer. I don't know why. And I copy the formula from above. It's very useful. Control apostrophe. Now, for example, I got a data 1, data 2, and I got a formula called sum of here to no J23 to J24 example. That no, because I don't want to use mouse, so sometimes sometimes it's making it number 1, number 2, and a sum. Okay. Here I got another 2, 3. Suppose I want to get the same kind of formula. I don't want to type it again. I don't want to copy and paste. So it's one way to copy the formula above a control apostrophe. So I use control apostrophe, and immediately I get that format to general. Immediately I got the same formula, but that bad. No, that's not so good. This formula did the exact same formula, but after simply 25. So I seldom use this formula, this shortcut. So for the time being, forget it, because this will copy the actual formula. It did not adjust it to the actual scenario. So forget about this one. Okay. But I can guarantee the next one is very useful. It's control how to call it, a dash, control dash. We delete the rows or column. A control minus. Control minus, where you? I will delete the entire row. The entire row is gone. Control minus. And you can select entire column. The entire column is gone. So it's control minus or control dash. It is very useful. The next one is control equal. It's the opposite to that one. Suppose a control equal. Control shift equal. It's been a control plus in a keyboard after control plus. So that's you insert what? I will insert entire row. Okay. Or control plus. I can select entire column. Okay. The next one is the switch between the Excel formula or the value in the cell. I don't know whether it works in my computer. Let's try. Suppose I get a formula call today. Would I use no, it doesn't work in my computer, but what it means that if I press this control shift a tilde, I don't know what to call tilde, that it will show the formula by right, but it doesn't work in my computer. But the next one I'm sure it works in my computer, and that is control X here. Suppose that I put today, okay, as I will be the time formatting. Remember how to enter the time quick. Okay, here. That is the time. What it means that you can use that one to format a time. Control Shift at time. Suppose I go back to the other format, general. Then this number doesn't show right at the time, but I can control that to make it become a time by pressing Control Shift at here. Okay. Control Shift at, then become a time format right away. Okay, the next one, a comma formatting is also useful. That will give you a very large amount of money. Then I don't know how many thousands or how many millions, and I can use Control Shift exclamation mark. Becomes 12 million. Okay. But I also need to know with the dollar signs that I can control. I go back to the original format first, and I can control with the dollar sign that I get a dollar at $12 million. Okay. For the date, suppose I enter the date, and suppose that the original format is general, then it doesn't look good as a date, so you enter this one, Control Shift hash or Shift pound, then you see what happened. It become a date. Okay. A percent also good. Suppose that I would say I have 0.3%, 0.3, a quarter, a third of my money is going to be spent or what? Then I make it percent. How? Control percent. That gets 30%. Control N. That's very useful. Suppose this data. Suppose this data I want to I want to add a border to it. Then to read something in the menu is very time consuming, but use Control Shift and then we immediately give you a border. I'll remove the border. I don't want it anymore. And then with Control Shift underscore. There's no more border anymore. Of course, I can get it back and I can remove it. So using keyboard is much faster than searching for the right menu above. Control, yeah, I showed you before. Control delete. Control minus will delete the row. I showed it before, I think. Control minus, that will ask you whether you could delete the entire row or not. Control Shift bar, Control Spacebar. It's very useful. Suppose I don't want to have this column anymore. I will control the spacebar. I don't want to have this column anymore, then I can control spacebar. Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't work for my computer. I don't know why. But anyway, of course you can use the mouse to select it, but I don't know. Control Spacebar. No, I don't know why. Control Shift Spacebar. Yeah, maybe this. Oh, I know what. I know. Because this website gave me the wrong ideas. It's just not correct. It's not correct. Control Shift Spacebar gives the entire column. Okay, so we go here and Control Shift Spacebar. No, I don't know. It got messed up. Maybe they kind of I don't know. But anyway, in my computer, Control Shift Spacebar, we select the entire column. So sometimes you have to figure it out whether it works for your computer or not. So here I can Control Shift Spacebar and I can delete the whole column sometimes. Okay, I can delete the whole column out of it. Okay. Control Home to go back. But this one I don't like, because why? because the home key is somewhere you have to normally find out in the keyboard. It's very difficult. But if I go back to original, I would go just Control G and A1. Oh, I know why I got so mixed up here, because of my setting Chinese here. Oh, that's always make me sad about it, Because Control Spacebar will turn on my language selection. That is very bad. It makes me a lot of trouble. So if you only have the English keyboard, if you Control Spacebar, I guarantee you that you get an entire column. And then you can delete that column or do whatever you want or format that column for you. But unfortunately, Control Spacebar normally also means the language selection, so it's very, very complicated sometimes. So, okay, I don't know how to deal with it for the time being. Go back here, Control Home. Normally I use Control G and A1, and I will go back to original. Yeah, Control Home just now. Yeah, here I can go back here, suppose somewhere here, and I can go back A42, and we'll go back to this cell. Now, to switch the previous workbook, if you open several workbooks, that you can use Control Shift Tab to go back, and open a fonts menu, so Control Shift F. You can use the font menu. I can select a higher size. I can select a different color, whatever it is. So to select a cell containing comments, suppose that I have something, so I get a comment here, insert a comment. No, anyway, I seldom use comment. What it means that if you add some comment and you want to find out a cell that with comment, you can always use this command, Control Shift O, to go to that. Control Drag. No, because this one, if you normally use mouse, I would say I'm a mouse hater. I don't want to use command using mouse very much, so I forget it too. Control Up arrow. Control Up arrow. We'll go back here. Okay. This is very, very useful. Why? Suppose that I have a new row here. I have the blank here. If I'm here, I want to jump down here. Then I go and Control down arrow. It will go down to the end of that block. Okay. It's here a Control down arrow. It will go to the end of this block. Okay. So we'll go back to the original. When I go Control Up arrow, I'll go back here to the top of this block. Okay. Okay. In the same token, you can use the Control right arrow to go to the end. What does it mean? Suppose that I have something here for that block, Control right arrow, it will come to here. Okay. That is very useful because sometimes we have to work for a certain block of text, and so for that region you can use Control arrows to go to the border of that region. Control N go to the last cell of the workbook. Okay. You go to the top, go to the end. Okay. Alternate page down. Alternate page down. That if you a lot of text, that you can use this one to have a quick movement of the page. but I would say seldom use it. The reverse alternate page up. Control F to open a print review is also useful because if you want to print it, you see how it looks like before you print. Otherwise, it can be a lot of trouble because it would waste a lot of paper if you do not check it right before you press the button for printing. Control F1. I can make more options here in your manual, but I don't like it because I like simplicity. I would turn it off. Control F1. I would turn it off, and most of the time I would use keyboard shortcuts rather than going to the manual. Alternate. It's a wonderful key. If you press alternate, you get all the labels here. Okay. Tap the next cell and shift tab, just the opposite. Okay, so you should also try shift tab. Alternate T to open the options. No, but I don't do it. It's not very useful. Alternate down arrow to activate the filters. Okay. There we get our filters. It's not useful in this worksheet, and it's more useful when you have a title with the data. Then you can use the filter of the data. So I can't demonstrate the time being for this one, but if you have a correct title, then you can use this one for filtering. And let me see what I can do. A quick example in that one. Fruit quality. And I'll say apple, orange. Okay. Then I can use filter, orange, can filter apple. Okay. No, I don't want, but okay, forget it for the time being. But anyway, it gives you the filter. But how you link with the data here, I need time because I seldom use this command. Alternate depth. Yeah, alternate depth. This is useful. F2. Suppose I want to change something here. I don't want to change here. You can double click and then change, but it's better to press F2 and then you can do it editing here. Sorry, just the opposite. If you want to edit something, you can go to here and then type in, but then you need your mouse. It's not very useful. Suppose that I have my name, Clemens here. I want to change it. Either you use the mouse and put this near the menu bar here and do the typing, but you can just come to here and then press F2 and you can type it. You can correct it right away here. Okay, so it's much better use F2 to edit the cell rather than go to the box. If you seldom use it, you can even turn it off. Then you can save one more row here and you can turn off also this one. F3, the page cell name itself be named. F3 is normally go for the name of the cell. I normally use Control F3 in order to get the name of a cell. Okay, but F3 alone I seldom use it, so I'm not quite sure how to do it. Shift F2 to add cell comments. You can put a comment here. So if you want to put a comment, it's better to use this comment keyboard shortcut rather than searching for something how to add a comment. Okay, just remember, if you do, I seldom use comment, but if you use it a lot, you have to remember how to use it. Shift F2 and can do it much quicker. Alternate, just select the fill color. So you must make it quick. Okay. So you want to remember to make it quick, so you won't show too much annoying color, annoying symbols above in the menu. Control Alternate HH. Then you're very fast. Okay. To add a border, I don't know why here this one useless, because I show you already. You can use Control Shift. You get a border much quicker than using alternate. You Control Shift and Control Shift and rather than using alternate. Control 9 to hide the selected rows. Suppose this row I want to hide, and then Control 9, then it will hide, it will hidden. You want to hide the selected columns. Suppose I want to hide a column, then Control 0, it's hidden. To cancel the entry, something. Oh, I don't want. Then you can use escape to cancel it. Enter, computer enter. Of course, everyone know it. Enter and go to the down one cell below. You can adjust it to one cell to the right, but for that when you change your option of the Excel behavior. But I normally going down much better, of course. Shift right arrow to expand. Suppose that for example, highlight the cell, and I can shift arrow, and shift key is meant to expand the selection. Peter Wong, for example. I want to select his name, but I put it here, and I press the shift key and the arrow key, then will highlight the selection. To put down the shift key, it means to expand the selection. In the same token, you can use the shift left arrow. Suppose that I highlight here, I put a shift left arrow, then to expand the selection. Okay, and shift space. That's very useful. A shift space. There was entire row. Then I do whatever I want. I want the entire row to make it in a bold color, in a bold, and also whatever I want. Or I want a whole line to do some action, and I can use Control Shift space. Okay. Page up, page down. Oh, I think that's obvious. This one alternate, I seldom use it, but sometimes can do a lot of very, very interesting job. For example, one of my favorites is to adjust the width of the column, because now at the moment, this column width and the information here doesn't match. So I want to adjust it automatically to fit in the uh, longest items here. How to do it? My favorite is alternate HOI. So alternate HOI, then it automatically adjusts it. Yeah, it automatically adjusted the columns with the longest. It may not, but anyway, that's supposed to be automatically adjusted. Okay. What the meaning of alternate HOI is that alternate and H here, home, okay, and O, alternate, H, and O mean the format, and I mean auto fit the column width. Of course, you can do other things like auto fit the row height, okay, and set the column width, row height, etc. So it's very useful for using the alternate combination. Alternate and go to insert pattern, just another type. So all this kind of alternate, it actually will invoke the menu options here, and it's a much quicker way to do something that you do frequently rather than look at it searching one by one. Alternate AM to go to Formula tab. I think this could be useful. Okay, then define a formula, define the math, define something that is related to formula. Okay, and alternate A is something that is related to data. Suppose that you get data from the web, refresh data, and so on. Is something related to data. Alternate R. It is very useful if used like me using the Office 365. Then I can also do a translation. So there's something related to data with spelling, approving, and so on. Protect Workbook. Then you can use alternate R. Alternate W. It doesn't work much. Open the Help tab. No, I don't do it. A quick jump to search. Okay, these alternate commands, to me, I didn't do too much. I use Control key, but okay. But anyway, that you can explore on all these kind of commands to fit in the one that can be helpful. For me, I used a lot of alternate HOI because that in my Excel report sometimes the width is a problem, and I can always do the kind of auto fitting. Okay. Shift F3 to get a function. You can insert the function. The calculate workbook F9 to calculate it. These are very special, and for me, I don't involve too much calculation, and so these commands I don't have much experience. But I use a lot of name manager. Suppose that suppose this name is the order, for example. then I would put a name to this range. Then I Control F3. Then I get a name for that. Okay, to call authors. Then I would go to here, author. Then I go automatic here. So to change the name, always use Control F3, and we get a name manager. A name range is very, very useful. Suppose I call it date, and that the date of this report, and I name it. Control F3, a new, I call it date, report date. Okay, so somewhere come here I can go to report date, and we go to the date of this report. Okay, so much for Control F3. Control Shift F3 to create the names. Suppose that you have a lot of data, and also you have something. Okay, name Peter. So you can use Control Shift 3. Then you can create the names from the left column. Okay. Then all the names here will have, because previously I got some names already, so got overlapping. If not, suppose that I give a Control Shift F3 again, then I can use the column at the names of the range. But anyway, I use Control F3 more, so for the time being, you may have to explore yourself how to use Control Shift F3, but for me I use mostly one by one Control F3. But the concept that Control Shift F3 can do, there's the Control F3 actions for many data together, and so you gotta explore by yourself. To zoom inside a workbook, Control Alternate Plus. Control Alternate Plus. Wow. Control Alternate Plus. Okay, just zoom in. Oh yeah, the zoom in. You can zoom in. Okay. To make it larger. Okay, the zoom out. Yeah, that was wrong. Control Alternate Plus, you got a minus here, okay? Okay, that's right. The main Control Alternate Plus will zoom in, and Control Alternate Minus will zoom out. It's useful, isn't it? Because sometimes, suppose you're in a Zoom video conference, should make you a shared document, a shared Excel a little bit easier to view, that you may have to Control Plus to make it bigger, okay? Or you can zoom out to make it easier for if you are not in a Zoom meeting, and then you can do it all by your own. Then you can use it to a font size that's much more comfortable yourself. Alternate 1, turn on autosave. Turn on the autosave. But normally I turn it off. Let's save a workbook. Alternate 2. I seldom use it. Normally I use Control S. I think the same thing. I will use Control S better. To export your workbook, also an F3. No, it doesn't work for my computer. No, it got lost again. Export your workbook. Alternate F. It doesn't work. Share your book. Close save workbook. I don't use it. I use alternate F4. I use alternate F4. But alternate F4, you ask me whether to save and quit. Turn off key tips on and off F11. Oh. No. It's wrong. Maybe the version of the Excel is the same. It's not the same as the one that for my version and the one that given in this website. But anyway, just pick the one that you feel useful and forget the one that will seem to be not very useful. Okay. All in all, I would say that this rest not important. I would say that out of that 100 shortcuts, I would say at least 2/3 of them are really useful and can make my Excel report writing much faster and more interesting than searching the menu bar above. Those shortcuts have been helping me for many years, and I do think they will help you too. If you find that interesting, I hope you would give me a like. If not, you just keep using them for yourselves. Okay. Today, thank you very much for listening to that long video, and I think it helped you and also can help myself to refresh on the experience that I've been using in Excel for jumping around or doing some manipulation using shortcuts in my keyboard only without even touching my mouse. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.